Finally, we had an honest conversation.
Christine Brown's new husband could be hiding a dark secret that most people have no idea about.
Someone who's attracted to me would be a really great thing, I'm just saying.
His new life with Christine seems to be all sunshine and rainbows, but the story of his first marriage is nothing like that. So what exactly happened with his first wife? And does this mean that things could take a dark turn with Christine too? So Christine and David Woolley look super happy together. They've been all cute on social media calling each other king and queen, and they even just recently got married, so all in all things seem to be going great for them. But behind the scenes, David has been hiding a dark secret from his past, and it all has to do with his first wife. So, if you didn't know, David was already married once a long time before he and Christine met. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. After all, Christine was married before to Cody too, and that relationship was a complete mess too, but honestly, that was nothing compared to what happened with David's first wife. That story is actually really serious and dark because unlike Christine, David actually never got divorced. The reason he's not married to his first wife anymore is because she sadly passed away, and it actually happened in one of the worst ways possible because she actually ended up taking her own life. Her name was Margaret, and when she tragically passed away, she and David had been married for over 20 years, and from the outside their relationship may have seemed beautiful and amazing. They got married in the 90s and started building a giant and happy family together. They ended up having 8 kids and things were looking pretty good for them, but that was until everything came crashing down. And the thing is, Margaret actually left a note with her last message to everyone, and what she said just seems to reveal a dark truth about her relationship with David. From her note, it seems like their relationship was never actually beautiful and happy, and it seems like she even accused David of some pretty serious things. She didn't say anything specific exactly, but it sounded like she might have been talking about some instances of DV, and that might have actually been what ultimately made her, end up deciding to take her own life, because she was unable to find help from anyone. And one day in June of 2012, she just disappeared out of nowhere. Neither David nor anyone else knew where she was, and they started looking for her pretty much immediately, but by the time they found her, it was sadly already too late. Margaret was staying at a hotel, and her body was found by the maid who came to clean up her room, and by that point, her friends and family were already really worried about her, mainly because she made it obvious that something was very wrong. For one, she left her home and didn't tell anyone where she was going. But then, she also started sending some really worrying texts to her friend, and from the text, it was obvious what she was planning to do. So her friend got really worried and contacted the police, as well as David, but nobody knew where Margaret was, and in the end, they were unable to stop her from taking her own life. And the police knew she was missing. And they also knew about the text that she had sent to her friend, and David was apparently trying all night to reach her on the phone, but there just hadn't been enough time to actually find her and prevent the tragedy. And Margaret checked into the hotel for one night only, and the next day she was found surrounded by pills and empty bottles, and it seems like she took a bunch of substances and combined them, and all of it was just to end her own life. And that's also what the police investigation concluded. But of course, along with Margaret's body, they also found her last note, and the things she had to say were just heartbreaking. She basically said that nobody had helped her when she needed it, and the note actually implied that there was a harmful situation going on in her life, and there's reason to believe that David had something to do with it. And it seems like she was trying to show signs to people of what was going on, but in the end, nobody actually helped her, and everyone just turned their backs on her. And then she also left really sad, and just moving goodbye messages to her kids. And she said that sorry to them for leaving like this, but her message for David was not positive at all. She said that he had been controlling and manipulative for years, and that it made all the good parts of her break under pressure until she had nothing left. And she didn't actually make any more specific accusations, but this is some pretty serious stuff, because it seems like to her David was the main cause of unhappiness in her life. But the reality is, what happened wasn't just David's fault. Margaret had been struggling with her mental health for a long time at that point, And according to David and her friends, she was really battling with depression, and in the end her mental health problems just got too hard for her to deal with. And that part really couldn't have been David's fault. Obviously, but it's possible that he could have been, making things worse by his behavior in the relationship if what she said was true. And the thing is, it's impossible to know what was really going on between them. Because sadly, Margaret is no longer here to talk about it, but it's clear that she at the very least felt like something was not right in their relationship, and it could be that they just had some pretty regular marital issues, and it was really just difficult for her to deal with them because of her mental health struggles, but it could just as well have been that David did some pretty nasty bad things to her. And although I have to say that Margaret's last note is the only evidence of that we have, David never got in trouble with the law because of DV, which obviously does not really prove that he never did anything like that. But the other big sign that I can see is that his kids seem to all be on really good terms with him. Earlier this year, David made an Instagram account after he and Christine got engaged, and in his Instagram introduction post he talked about his family, his kids and his grandkids, and it's really obvious that his family is the most important thing to him. He even made sure to ask everyone if they were okay with being on Instagram, and he even censored everyone's face who didn't agree, which is definitely the right thing to do, and it shows that he understands boundaries and at least respects them, and that's more that can be said about a lot of other people. And it also looks like his kids are generally on good terms with him, and I think that might not have been the case if he had been openly really bad to their mom in the past. But still, this is obviously not proof of anything, and at the end of the day there's really no way for us to know what was really going on between him and Margaret. But the question that everyone is probably asking is if he is actually someone who inflicted DV on his first wife in the past. Will the same thing happen to Christine now that they are married? And I mean, the circumstances of the two relationships are very, very different. Both Christine and David are much older now, and their relationship will just be different. But the way that they got so serious so quickly could potentially be a cause for concern. And they only announced that they were dating on Valentine's Day, and now they just got married not even a year later. So there's no way that Christine knows him well enough and can be sure that he's actually going to be good to her. But then again, how could she ever be sure of that? Either way, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I do think David seems to be a nice guy on the surface, but I will say that the speed of their relationship to engagement to marriage was just so fast, and for the life of me, unless it was for religious purposes, I don't understand why they got married so fast. So that is a bit concerning, but they seem adorable together. He seems very go with the flow. I have not seen him interact in any long-form videos around the show. He hasn't been on anything yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, what do you guys think? And what is your opinion on Christine's new husband, David, guys? Let me know in the comments down below.